After working with over 1,000 businesses, there is only one way that I have found to guarantee an increase in cash flow for a company. And this is whether the company is struggling or maybe they're already generating 67, 80% margins, but they'd like to make a little bit more. And although I had been technically practicing this thing for years, it wasn't until I recently finished the autobiography of Sam Zell, an American billionaire businessman with over a $5.3 billion net worth and exits in the $39 billion range, that I realized exactly what this one thing is, and he summarizes it very well. Paraphrasing what he says, essentially, when he goes into a business and plans on turning it around, he almost never tries to improve cash flow by adding more things. It's not like he's going to add a new line of services or products or enter into a new market. What he says that he does every single time to guarantee an increase in cash flow and profitability is remove redundancies. And what this means is that essentially there is almost always going to be some kind of inefficiency in your business. And there's a lot in mine. And even though we've removed a lot of redundancies, there's even more that we can remove, which I'm going to get into a little bit later. And removing redundancies means that you are currently making $100,000 a month, and it's costing you $50,000 to make that $100,000 a month. That's a 50% profit margin. Well, if you're able to actually make that same $100,000 a month with $40,000 a month in expenses, then you're making the same amount of money with the same amount of work, but you're taking home more in the end. And that's really what we should be looking for. Not all of this hoopla around, oh, I make $1 million, $6 million, $10 million a month, a year. You know, all these people out here are making these huge top line statements. But what I want to know is, how much are you actually taking home? And more importantly, how much are you working for that money? So I'm going to walk you through 3 tactical ways in order to remove redundancies inside of your business. And we've done it inside of our companies as well as our clients' companies that almost guarantees an increase in cash flow. And let me give you a little warning here. Whenever I get a client and we start working with them and I offer them these redundancy reductions, almost always they're going to be saying, oh no, I want to get more appointments, I want to close more deals. And the idea behind this is that you can always increase ad spend, you can always get more appointments, and you can always close more deals. But if we can stop what we're doing and make ourselves 2 to 5 times more efficient right now, that means that when we add more stuff on later, we're doing it at a higher profit margin than we are right now. So with that being said, let's dive into the 3 things. The first is going to be to automate where you're currently delegating. I think we live in an amazing world today where there is some really unbelievable software that allows you to replace some of the team members or some of the work that you are paying other people to do. The best part about software is it typically costs you $50 to $100 a month. And in addition to that, it never needs a vacation. It never needs any rest. It doesn't need to go to sleep at nighttime, and it works 24/7, 365. So what we've done is we've worked to replace a lot of the manual work that some of our clients are doing with automation. A great example of this inside a business is an automated onboarding process. When we have a client sign up to work with us, their first 3 to 5 steps that's required, like getting them access to the Slack channel, sending them a gift in the mail, etc., all happens totally through automation. So nobody's involved to have to try to copy and paste email addresses or send out invites over email. The entire process, which used to take one person, an hour to 2 hours per client, is now totally automated, and it gets executed in 30 seconds or less. Now, I know many of you are worried about the AI revolution, and some people are going to say in the comments that I am, getting rid of jobs and replacing them with robots, and it couldn't be further from the truth. What we're doing is by removing redundancies and allowing our team members to work less, they're making more per hour, and on top of that, the work that they are doing becomes so much of a higher quality because they're not expending a lot of time, energy, and effort doing menial repetitive tasks that we can just automate. So just for easy numbers here, let's say that whenever you onboard a client, it takes 10 hours to service them. If you can have automation come in and take care of 4 of those hours for you, well, then the client success manager or your fulfillment director, whoever's in charge of it, they now have 6 hours that they can spend fully focused on serving the client, what used to take them 10 hours. And a lot of time that leads to higher quality work in less time. The second way that you can remove redundancies in your business is to simplify. That's one of the key words of our company this year, and I have taken it to heart. Simplification essentially means that most businesses, especially if you've hit the multiple 6, multiple 7, and maybe even 8-figure mark, you've done that by just throwing stuff and adding stuff onto your business. So you've done it by adding new product lines, hiring new positions, creating new departments, whatever else it is, you've usually hustled your way to the multiple 6, 7, or 8-figure mark. And that's been really great. But in order to now scale further and do it without having to jump off a bridge, you need to simplify what you're doing. A great example of this is inside of our company. We used to help people when they were just starting out, as well as established businesses, grow their company. But the problem with that is we learned that the majority of the clients that were taking up 90% of our client success managers' time and our energy and effort were those that didn't have product market fit. They didn't already have something that they could sell. So although that market is larger, us helping people who are just starting out, and we could technically make more money, top line revenue, by selling more units a month, by going after clients now who are established, which we define by at least $7,000 to $8,000 a month in monthly recurring revenue in the past 90 days, we can focus on just literally from the day they get started, setting up the entire marketing system within 72 hours. And our clients are typically seeing a return on investment within 7 to 10 days of working with us. And that's just before we do anything else after those 7 to 10 days. So by simplifying this, we are actually able to work with less people, but make a whole lot more money, because not only do they get results and they renew and they ascend, but also they will send referrals our way. So I don't have to spend marketing money like advertising dollars in order to acquire new clients, because our current clients are bringing those people in. And we've also removed the redundancies by, instead of our client success managers having to work, once again, let's say 10 hours per client, they're working 3 hours per client and doing even more, having an even more impactful results, because they already have a lot of that baseline set up. And you have to have a longer term vision for this to work, because yes, in the short term, when I first made this decision to make this change about 6 to 7 months ago, we did see a short-term drop in cash. But after a few months that stabilized, and now we're hitting record months because we know exactly who we're serving, and the people that we're serving, we are getting it done very quickly, very simply, very profitably, and we're getting it done correctly. And the third and final way to remove redundancies inside your business is to add leverage to everything that you do. This is the second keyword of the year for our company, the first being simplicity, the second being leverage. So everything that I do and everything that my team does needs to have leverage to it. And leverage, by definition, is essentially your outputs are not equal to your inputs. So you put one input in, that unit is either time or capital, and you're getting a higher output out. So you're getting 2, 3, 5, 10, 100, 300, 500 out. A great example of leverage in the business world is software. So when you build a software company, the reason why they're so valuable is you spend some time up front building the software, but then there's almost a no to marginal cost of reproduction. So whether you have 100 users or 100,000 users, it doesn't really cost you that much more money as you would if you were one-on-one servicing all of those people. So you should be looking in your business where there are redundancies of where you could add leverage. So a great example of this in our company would be whenever we used to get on the call with our clients, we would essentially have to explain who we are, everything that we do, everything that we offer, what makes us different than everyone else, how the money back guarantee works, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And our salespeople would have to spend an additional 30 minutes every single call explaining this to all of these people. What we did instead was we created a video where before they book the call, they can learn all of this, and I get to say it in the most perfect way, recorded beforehand. So this means that this is essentially the concept of a video sales letter. So whenever someone books a call to speak with us, they've already watched the perfect video explaining exactly what we do. So they already have a great understanding of who who we are, how we help people, the price point, what makes us different, our guarantee, et cetera, et cetera. So when they get on the call with our sales team, they can have more calls in less time because they're not having to explain that to every single person. Another great idea or example of leverage would be courses or content. So whenever we're working with a client, we don't expect them to consume like hundreds of hours of modules and courses like a lot of these other people out there do, because we do a lot of the stuff for our client. But for example, if they ask us, hey, Ravi, what's been your experience hiring? I can drop them a YouTube video, or I can send them a module where I've gone incredibly in depth, like 2 to 3 hours in depth on our entire hiring process. And they can watch that, and it doesn't take any time off of my hands because I've already filmed it one time. And then they can ask me questions and I'll answer it inside of our private Slack channel. So those are examples of leverage that we can use inside of our business in order to remove the redundancies and get more with less, thus increasing your profitability and, of course, most importantly, your cash flow.